I never realized how loud silence could be until that weekend. The weekend Leo returned. The house, my sanctuary for years, felt oddly foreign. Not because anything had changed, but because the quiet around me had shifted. After years of enjoying my own space, learning to cherish my solitude, this stillness felt charged, as if the walls themselves were whispering secrets I wasn't ready to hear. I lingered near the window, watching the garden bathed in the golden hue of late afternoon sunlight. That warm, sinking light had a way of touching your bones, making you sense that something, however small, was about to alter everything. I couldn't name the unease twisting through me. Nothing unusual had happened, yet a subtle restlessness pressed against my chest. It had been years since Leo, my former tenant, moved out of the guest house. He had stayed there nearly 5 years ago, 3 of them, actually working long hours in the city while I occasionally cooked for him or lent a hand when needed. Watching him transform from a quiet, uncertain young man into someone confident, self-assured, and unexpectedly thoughtful had always been strangely satisfying. Our interactions were polite, respectful, even comfortable. Yet beneath that politeness lingered an unspoken familiarity, a silent rhythm. Neither of us addressed, but both seemed to feel. He had said he was coming back just for the weekend. To breathe. To escape the city's noise. To find a little stillness. But from the moment he stepped onto the porch, something intangible shifted. There was a weight in the air, unspoken, unacknowledged, but impossible to ignore. I remembered the knock at the door. It was light, almost hesitant. Unlike the easy confidence with which he had once barged in, borrowing sugar or asking about a broken heater, when I opened the door. The first thing I noticed was him, Leo. He wasn't the same man I had known. Taller, broader shouldered, more grounded. His hair fell slightly longer over his forehead, his jawline sharper, and his eyes. His eyes were different. The quiet intensity behind them, the depth I hadn't noticed before, pulled at something I didn't know I still felt. "Hi, Mia," he said softly. I smiled, the name feeling strange yet familiar on my lips. "Just Mia," I replied. But somehow it felt heavier than before. "Mia," he repeated, and the way he said it. It was deliberate, intimate, stirring an unexpected heat beneath my ribs. Later, after he settled into the guest house, I insisted we share dinner spaghetti with garlic bread. The meal he used to crave when work left him drained and restless. Nostalgia brought a gentle warmth to my chest, but it wasn't just nostalgia. When he walked into the kitchen, leaning casually against the counter, his gaze lingering a moment too long, I felt it immediately, the room, the meal. The soft flicker of candlelight, all of it was charged in a way I hadn't anticipated. "It smells just like I remember," he said, inhaling deeply. His voice carried a note that wasn't about the food. "I miss this," he added quietly. I laughed, trying to keep the moment light. "It's just spaghetti," I replied, shrugging. But he shook his head, the faintest smile tugging at his lips. "Not the food," he murmured. "This, being here." He didn't explain further. He didn't need to. The silence itself became a language, thick with meaning. At dinner, he sat across from me, eyes soft yet searching, fingers drumming lightly against the edge of the table. "How have you been, really?" he asked. Quick to hide my vulnerability, I said, "Fine." Too quick. He tilted his head, curiosity sharpened by concern. "Are you sure?" His words weren't accusatory, just piercing. I felt the truth of his gaze unraveling my composure. I cleared my throat and muttered something about the food, anything to diffuse the tension. But it didn't vanish, it simply settled beneath the conversation. Humming quietly like a hidden current. After dinner, he suggested a movie, a ritual from the past meant to calm heavy hearts. I agreed, hoping distraction would ease the undercurrent between us. But sitting together on the couch, closer than expected, the faint warmth of his arm brushing mine, the occasional glance he offered when something amused him, it all felt like a quiet ignition. A slow stir of emotions I wasn't prepared to confront, innocent, normal, yet unsettling. Because something had undeniably shifted, the night gave way to morning, but the stillness didn't lift. I found him in the kitchen, standing by the window with a steaming mug of coffee, sunlight catching his silhouette in gold.
He wasn't just Leo, the man who had fixed my leaking faucet or emptied my pantry after stressful days.
He was a man with presence, depth, calm confidence. "Morning," I said, striving for casualness. He returned my greeting with a small smile, but his eyes, unreadable and intense, held mine longer than was comfortable. We talked about the ordinary, his work, friends, life in the city. But beneath that ordinary chatter, something pulsed quietly, almost tangible, a tension neither of us could or would name. Eventually, he suggested a walk along the trail behind the house. A familiar path laden with old memories, jogs, confessions, quiet conversations. The air was crisp, the sunlight filtering through the canopy in scattered patches. Birds chirped, the world moving in its gentle rhythm. While the two of us walked side by side, small, deliberate touches marked the journey. His arm brushed mine. His fingers lingered for a heartbeat against my sleeve. Eyes met too often, glances too charged to dismiss. Each was brief, harmless, yet unsettling, layering our silence with unsaid words. We reached the clearing atop the hill, overlooking the valley. Once we had watched sunrises here, shared burdens, exchanged heartbreaks. Leo stopped, turning to me, voice soft. "Mia," he said, hesitation threading through the quiet strength of his tone. My heart leapt, pulse hammering unevenly. "What is it?" I whispered. He swallowed, jaw tightening imperceptibly. "There's something I've been meaning to tell you. Something I've felt for a long time." My breath hitched. The air around us thickened, charged, impossible to ignore. Before I could form a response, he took a careful step closer. "I know things feel different. I feel it too." "Don't look away," he said softly, almost pleading. "It's not wrong. It's just real." His words, calm and unwavering, pressed against my chest, leaving no space for denial. A fragile silence stretched, raw and unguarded. "I care about you," he admitted, voice steady. "More than I've allowed myself to admit. More than I can even explain." I froze. The words were safe, honest, yet transformative. He wasn't asking for anything forbidden, wasn't crossing boundaries of trust or dependence. But the line I hadn't noticed before between what was comfortable and what was deeply intimate suddenly felt palpable. My thoughts tangled, heart racing. Part of me wanted to flee. Part wanted to pretend this shift didn't exist. But another part, quiet and undeniable, recognized the truth simmering between us. Everything had changed. Though neither of us could say exactly when or how, I looked down at my hands, searching for calm. "Leo, I don't know what to say." "Then don't say anything," he whispered, a gentle gravity in his tone. "Just don't walk away from me." The valley below lay still, holding its breath. The wind stirred the trees, brushing leaves against one another. My chest tightened. My mind spun. Nothing about this moment felt steady, nothing at all. And yet, for the first time in years, the quiet around me didn't feel empty. It felt full, charged, alive, waiting for what came next.